Let's start this stuff up, eh? Been thirsty for way too long. Good to see you guys. Daniel was already here, Molasses, and Silverlock, man. Good to see you too. I love that supernova icon avatar, I should say, you've got there, man. That's awesome. Hey, ready for your brilliant analysis of whiskey? All right. Well, I'm not sure if you're going to get all that, but you'll definitely get my own take on things. And thankfully, I've been lucky enough to people usually say I have a knack of getting notes out, and I try not to when I grade it. I try not to be too subjective, but you know how it is when it comes to certain tastes. Some things you just love, and certain things you just don't. But thankfully, tonight we're going to have a little fun with Malt Muser will be joining me here shortly. Let me get him a link before I even think about forgetting. Let's copy that. And I had a bit of the reason I'm kind of a little scatterbrained right now is I had to completely redo everything. I had everything set up, and I was about to go on, and I noticed that the fan on my laptop wasn't running at all. And usually, it spins up and down depending on, what you're doing with it as far as if you're playing a game or doing broadcasting with videos. Of course, it's going to maybe spin up a little bit more. But the weird thing was I didn't hear anything. And sure enough, the whole damn thing was not even running the fan itself. So thankfully, I restarted, got it back up and running. I don't know why it was dead, but kind of a scary situation to be in when it's 5 minutes right before you're supposed to go live. So I really appreciate your all's patience with me sending the link and all that right now. What are you guys sipping tonight? Wow, there's Juan and Cohen and Andrew and Gary. I really appreciate it. What are you guys sipping? Hopefully, you're lucky enough to have something that we're going to be sipping. I know it's kind of a tough call because we're not talking drams you can just run to the store and get, unfortunately, since they're discontinued. But hopefully you've got one squirreled away that you've been saving for New Year's this year, and maybe you'll open it up to have a dram with us at least before you open it up for the new year again. I have the white version of the Laphroaig 18 sitting next to me here, and gracious Eric, I really appreciate it. Malt Muser, as you know him, was willing to send out the green version of Laphroaig 18, which I have had before, like once, I think, maybe it's an iffy, and even if I did, I don't remember a lot about it other than, I enjoyed it, but I'm gonna be taking a look at that. Along with, he also sent a Laphroaig 25-year-old, which is really, really going to be awesome. Now, one question to you guys, an important question. This is no joke. Like typically I like to take the year that I'm doing, 2021. I'll let it sit out for 20, 21 minutes. I usually do a minute per year. Now, when you're dealing with peated whiskey, I'm wondering if it's a little different. Do you skew how long you let your whiskey sit out based on peat level and year, or just the year? For me, I've always done it just the year. So before I poured that 25, I thought, you know what? I'm going to ask to make sure. Silverlock, you probably know. I think you like to deal with some high-end stuff most of the time. Cohen as well, maybe. I can't remember if you're into Scotch as much, but anything aged and peated, do you just do it, based off of the minute per year thing, or do you also think, well, if it's got peat, I definitely don't want to sit it out as long. So instead of for Laphroaig 25, maybe I'll let it sit out just for 10 minutes beforehand. There should be some sort of rule, you would think, to this, but maybe Silverlock would know. I know he's just poured the Laphroaig 10 cast strength batch 12, and then the 25 he's going to have with us at the same time. I'm curious to know what you guys think, and also when it comes to thinking, this guy. Uh-oh. Let me fix my sound. Sorry about this. I got my sounds all skewed.
You're good, man. How are you?
I apologize.
Happy last Tasty Tuesday of 2020, my friend.
There we go. I got my sound fixed. Sorry about that.
No, you're all good. How's it going?
It was crazy. I had my laptop fan wasn't coming on at all before I went on, and I've got this light on the display that tells me when the CPU and the graphics card is getting hot, and it was turning red. So I'm like, oh no, something's going on. So I had to shut down everything and restart everything right before, like 5 minutes before I had to go on.
Hey, man, I mean, if that's not an apropos way to mark the end of 2020, I don't know what is.
That's
This
true,
year's
man.
all about things going wrong.
Everything this year has been full red alert the entire year, it seems like.
That's the truth, man. How are you? Good holiday?
DEFCON 1, I think, is what they called it, right?
Yeah.
I'm bringing back word games, man.
Yeah, most assuredly, man.
No, it's been actually a decent a decent holiday. Got to spend it just with the immediate family,
Sure.
but it had some good drinks here and there, and I've been looking forward to this for months actually.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good way to mark the end of 2020. We're going to get into some serious Pete, punch in the face, which is what we're metaphorically doing to this foul year of our Lord 2020.
I had a question for you, actually, based on that. Now, and there might not be a right or wrong answer to this. I'm sure there's not, but just to see what you all do, I asked the people. Typically, like, I leave Scotch out for a minute per year, but when it comes to peat, I was wondering if, since it's a 25-year-old Laphroaig, would it need to sit out maybe as long, because you want the peat not to dissipate too much, and you're already dealing with a 25-year-old whiskey. I wonder, do you take account to, like, if it's peated or not peated based on the minute per year thing, or?
I've not actually really thought about it, but I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, in part, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know where I think it was Ralphie who always talked about that. And, it's like, oh, that makes sense, And I think this is like, it's a good way to remember to leave it out, because generally, I mean, if you leave it out for triple that long, I mean, you're going to get more interesting stuff than you are for just a minute, for each year. But yeah, no, I hadn't really thought about it on the peat side. I mean, actually, I've not had a ton of really old, heavily peated whiskeys, i.e. like Laphroaig 25 is probably the oldest one I've had. So, no, but it makes sense, right? I mean, I don't know how much will dissipate in that period of time, but I guess I wouldn't want to leave it out longer than a minute for each year, I guess, whereas something else you could kind of let sit for a long time or something like that.
True. I guess I'll go ahead and pour a little bit now, because I was just debating on if I should pour, soon I should pour it based off of that, because I wanted it to get the a little bit of oxidation, but at the same time, I didn't want it to, completely lose that peat powerful punch that we know Laphroaig is always good about giving us.
Yep. And I have my 18 white and 18 green in the glass. I've had it for about 10 minutes. So, you can pretty much roll with these whenever you're ready. Have you got anything new, by the way, since we last talked? It's been, 2 weeks?
I have been actually hardcore looking at a couple new things that I need to talk to you about after the fact sometime when you've got a second. I've been looking at the Old Pulteney 18. We are seriously thinking about looking at that one. I've got my eyes on an old Edgedower I found that was a 21-year-old Oloroso, which surprised me because you don't see Edgedowers aged that often.
Oh, really?
So I'm thinking of pulling the trigger on that one, but price is always kind of a fun thing to deal with.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. I mean, yeah, that's wow.
I did find a Bunnahabhain 25 for a reasonable price, surprisingly. So I'll talk with you about that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's talk about that.
Oh man, there was I'm trying to think one more. And the Tomatin, I'm thinking about pulling the trigger on a 30, believe it or not, but it's only because the price is really reasonable. The 18's underneath $100, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always a great one. I might just pull one on the side just to have, because that's like a go-to priced 18-year-old bottle. But that 30-year looks enticing, but I don't know. The price is so different when you talk about the 18 at under 100, and then you go to like $450 for a 30-year. It's like, oh, but it's a 30-year. I mean.
Yeah,
first world problems.
Question, man. Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Yeah, like yeah, we should definitely like think about what we want to do and maybe go halves on something or two things or something like that in the next couple of months. And yeah, I mean the Buna and that Edredauer entice me much more than the Tomaten, but
Yeah.
we'll see where it lands.
Yeah, I figure if you are going to do a tomatin, you might since it's such an affordable range, you might as well go as high as you can.
Right, yeah,
And if it's not a 30 year, I'm thinking maybe I'll be lucky enough to find like a single cask or something special that's a cask strength version of something with a nice either port or sherry maturation or something. I'm sure we could find something out there. But what about you?
yeah. Not a ton. So I did get the Macallan Edition 6.
Nice.
So I just did a little uncorking tasting on happy hour for that one. So, I'll definitely get you a sample of this for whenever we decide to do another Macallan show. I know we have one coming up with the 18 and the 12, but, in the future. I also grabbed this. Longmorn 16.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. This is one I keep hearing about from you actually and others. And I stumbled across it and it was relatively good price. It was like $78 or something like that.
That's extremely good price, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I pulled the trigger on this. 48%. Now I know there's like this older versus newer. This is a newer one. This one was bottled in 2020. But I've heard nothing but good things about it. The fact that it's non-chill at 48%. I mean, that was exciting. So, yeah. You've had this Longmorn before, right?
Not that exact version, but I've heard that the versions weren't that different from the one before the one I got and the one I've got. So hopefully they've kept just a nice continuous line, kind of like with Lagavulin 16. Whenever you get a bottle of that, typically you know what you're getting for. There's not a whole lot of variation on the Lagavulin 16 bottles that I've had, even over the last 3 or 4 years. They always seem to be, dependable. Longmorn 16 is a really good. For me, that one reminds me a lot of the Holland Park Fire. It also is a bit like it's an ultra spice bomb. You got to be in the mood for something savory with and if there's any sweetness, it's only because of maybe a red Thai chili paste kind of a feeling. It's definitely on more of the hot / spice side of life. Yeah. So I think it's a great treat.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to try it. I saw it and I was like, something told me that it might be a good price. And then I looked around, I'm like, oh, this is a good price. Screw it.
I think mine was like 110, so you had a hell of a price, and I think mine was about $10 overpriced. So 100, I think, is like the average good price for that one. So if you got it for 70 something, dude, that's like a steal, really.
Oh well, fantastic. Yeah, and if you're interested in trying, one of these newer releases, I could also bottle one of these up for you for the next swap.
Yeah, same. If you see anything or we talk and you notice something that you like, just let me know and I'll be happy to put it on the side for our state park stash.
Yeah, man, definitely. All right, so shall we dive in?
We shall. I'm not sure if you want to start with the white or the green. I don't have a preference.
Probably
the white since it's newer, maybe.
Yeah. So this is what the white tube looks like. Again, these were discontinued by Laphroaig in probably what? Yeah, yours looks the same as mine, right? Yeah. These were discontinued basically the lore, I think, quote unquote, replaced this in some way. Right. And I want to say this was maybe 2015?
2016, I think, was maybe the last year that they ran it, if I remember.
So yeah, this is a real gem. If you've never had it, it's fantastic stuff. You can really only get it secondary market these days, or maybe overseas, or maybe you see it on a shelf. But this is what the white tube bottle looks like. These are 48% ABV, which is just freaking awesome. It does say non-chill filtered on the back, so we have that working for it. Probably probably not natural color. It's Laphroaig. But yeah, so basically it is all ex-bourbon. And yeah, that's essentially what it says on the white tube. I'll just really quick, just for the contrast, this is what the green tube version looked like. Now, this was the green tube version that was right before the white tube changeover. So there may be older ones than this even, but this is what the green tube looked like. It's kind of the older Laphroaig lettering. This is also, go ahead.
How in the world did you get your hands on that, or have you had it that long?
I bought a couple. I have like 3 of them. I've got 2 on secondary market a couple years, or like maybe a year ago, and then
nice.
I didn't get the 3rd one. I don't remember where I found the 3rd one, but
that's awesome though.
Yeah, no, they were like $1.70 a piece, and I just did it. Now they're secondary market, they're like $2.20, which might be
easy.
A little. Yeah, 70s a lot, but I mean now you look at things that are 170 that are 18 years old. I mean, freaking Allardyce is that price.
And there's the Dalmore 18 too. Don't forget that one.
Yeah, don't forget the Dalmore. Don't ever forget the Dalmore. So this one again, 48%, also non-chill filtered. They put it right here on the tube on the front. Yeah, it's the same juice, ex-bourbon. The bottle, just for comparison's sake, this is what the older bottle of Laphroaig 18 looked like. So it's kind of the older lettering, all that jazz. Yeah. That's basically it in a nutshell. So it's the same juice. It's different tubes. These are maybe separated by, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, perhaps, maybe a little bit more. And what I think Telex has real interest in doing this is that, like there are with a lot of whiskeys, right? When they change the branding or the packaging, a lot of times folks speculate whether or not the juice has changed. There's a lot of people who swear up and down that certain juices changed. Others think there's no big deal. I mean, I did a comparison between some Highland Parks once about this. That all said, there are people who swear that when they do this, like you're seeing now with Old Pulteney, for example, or something like, the whiskey is losing a little bit of its quality. So we're going to do a little head-to-head between the old white tube and the old green tube here, and see if we can pick out any differences in the flavor of this Laphroaig 18.
So you think we should do like a nose comparison and do it like in sections like that, or do one like all the way through and go back and do the other one all the way through? I'm not sure. It's probably best to do, I guess, one after the other is to get a better comparison between.
Yeah, let's do it that way. Let's just kind of do it in stages or whatever. We'll start with the noses on each. Yeah, if you want to take it away, I'll follow your lead, and then we can give them a taste, and then go into it. Right off the bat, though, I mean, as I mentioned, like these are probably have color in them. I don't see any difference in the color in these.
I didn't either. That's the first thing I checked to see if there's any color differences, and I didn't see any. But if they do use any E150, it's only for consistencies, because they're definitely not coloring this to make it look like it's old. This actually looks exactly what I would think a not colored 18-year-old would look like. Yeah,
I agree.
It doesn't look like it's super dark, but yet you can definitely tell that it's, from the cast, the barrel, that's got it has a little bit of color off that.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell this probably has some color in it, but like, I don't see any difference between these two.
No.
So should we start white tube?
The white tube, starting off with the nose, and the first thing I got was like this really, it's wild, but like a buttered popcorn, and also almost like a mint. I mean, they're not fighting each other. It actually goes together really well.
Interesting, yeah.
Florals.
Oh, man.
Some really nice, it's like wet straw.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. Wow. Such a great nose on this.
It's got a little bit of white pepper on the nose too, even. It's kind of has even though it's aged, it's that you can get the peat off the effervescence of it off the nose too. Yeah, I'm basically right there with you.
What I noticed most about this is that like the peat and the smoke is very intense, like you would expect off of Laphroaig, but it's got a lot of like hefty body behind it. It's really got this like, again, it's ex-bourbon, so this is no surprise, but I get a lot of vanilla. There's some citrus. I get like almost like a meatiness to it, kind of like a, not necessarily as far as barbecue, but there's just a really nice, again, the mint. I'm picking up the mint too. There's a lot of depth in this one.
Huh. Probably think I'm crazy, but I think one difference that I notice with the green that it has that the white doesn't have, to me, I get a more of a fruit presence off the green than I do the white. Tell me if you see any fruit differences.
I'm gonna dive into it right now. I just have to let my nose adjust a little bit with that peat smoke so intense. All right, green. Yes, I do. Yeah, it's strikingly, actually.
Isn't that weird?
It's like strawberry.
That's awesome, though.
I do feel like there's a bit more of a fruit note in this. Apple, I mean, it's more like strawberry shortcake or and then maybe some apple. It just seems to be more prominent in this than it was in the other one. Like the peat smoke isn't masking this as much as it did. That one was just a lot more just heavy bourbon. This, yeah, I do feel like there's a sweeterness in this coming from fruit for sure. I don't get mint in this one though. Maybe a little bit, but
yes. Well, I'm definitely getting like a strawberry with the angel food cake and strawberry mix.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, there's also a nice. It's like sugar cookie, like Christmas sugar cookie. Interesting.
Yeah, the white one to me, it seems like it's got more of like I don't want to say a dunnage funk, but a bit more of the straw earthy factor, and the green has more of like light reds, the light white grapes and pears too, with the strawberries and.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like, I didn't get as much of the vanilla and the like light caramel that I got on the other one, like the more prominent bourbon flavor. Like it almost maybe. I mean, I know this is all ex-bourbon casks, but this could easily be just like better casks or different. The casks were just like maybe a little bit less. Maybe these were a little bit more tired, and that actually let the spirit come out a little bit more. Whereas those are a little bit richer on the bourbon notes. I don't know. It's noticeable though, no doubt.
Yes, well, it's like. It's not that the white smells any older, it just has a different profile to it. I get more of the floral dank on the white bottle. I get more of a really nice, almost sherry-like, PX sherry-like feel to the green.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and, it doesn't actually say on this one like it does on the white tube that it's all ex-bourbon, but I'm assuming that it is.
Let me take a quick look at something, because that might make a huge difference. That's a game changer.
Yeah, that would definitely be a game changer. I have a hard time thinking that that's the case, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Taking a quick look around. Taking a quick look around to see while we're enjoying this.
The immediate taste is an oak sweetness from 18 years in the barrel, but it doesn't say ex-bourbon. But I can't imagine that they would have changed that part of it too. But yeah, it doesn't say it explicitly like it does on the white tube.
I'm looking around a little bit.
Intriguing.
If anybody knows, if anyone's already done the research, we've tried to find out more information about the old green tube, and some of these, I mean, Laphroaig is not really super secretive by any means, but they're not. Some of these guys are not going to be willing to give you their entire recipe. So If
Yeah.
uh, if you guys do know if there's any sherry on that original green version of the 18, please let us know because I'm kind of curious. It's kind of funny because this kind of reminds me of that when you take the Glen Scotia 15, it's got that kind of feel to it where you wonder, is there any sherry in this? And
Yeah, yeah. When apparently it's all ex-bourbon. That's a good comparison. Yeah.
isn't it funny how that works?
Yeah.
I found a bottle of this. Let me see if this guy talks about. Let me search for the word sherry in his little blog thing because that'll really shorten the time. Oh, it's funny. Someone in 2009, almost 20 years ago, someone asked the same exact question. It says, "Is it entirely bourbon matured, or are there a few nuggets of sherry sloshing in there for a change? It looks lovely. I'm very glad it's 48%." So we're
Well, we're
definitely
not
not the
crazy.
first ones. Say
Yeah.
again?
I said, I guess we're not crazy.
Yeah, we're definitely not the first ones to be wondering if there's sherry goodness in this because man, and I bet you were onto something when you were talking about the fact that you've got the really good new casks. They're not first fill, but at least first of the fills of the bourbon, and then you get to the
Yeah.
tired ones, and it's like, and it would explain why eventually the 18 line ran out because they probably just ran out of
Yeah, very
source.
possible.
And that's the funny thing is, it goes and goes until they just run out of supply. And I'm wondering if after that first run of the green 18, they were like, well, it's still good, but we just need to repackage and sell this a little bit longer. Then we're going to have to take it off
Yeah.
and add old stuff with new stuff and make the lore. And that's how they come with the lore is basically your 30 and 18-year-old stuff mixed with some really new stuff, and they did their own kind of old blend of whiskeys with their newer make. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
man, I love the nose on both of
The
these.
white, yeah, the white tube just seems a little bit like fresher. But again, I think this is marginal. I don't know. Should we go into our taste?
Yeah, it's funny because I mean I know what you're saying when you say fresh, but to me the 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 sherry like version
Yeah.
of the green, I really enjoy that fruit, and it pops and it feels like it's more vibrant and
Yeah.
to me, even though it's older probably than this. And this is the one to me, the white one feels like it's more, and it's not more refined by any means because it's the same year, but it just seems like it's a little bit funkier. And I
Yeah.
wonder if it's
There are a
because
few extra band-aids in this one. All
yeah,
right.
you get more iodine out of the
Yeah,
white than you do the green.
for sure.
If you're looking for a sweeter dram on the nose, definitely the green is by far, I think, a sweeter one. If you want more of your earthy floral feel, then the white one is definitely the one on the nose it seems like to go for. All right, let's go for a taste here.
All right. Bunch of.
Starting with the white.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I love Laphroaig. It's always good, no matter if it's neat, if it's got a couple of drops, if somebody accidentally throws a spoonful of water in it.
Yeah.
My God, it's so good.
Man, and that finish just surges.
This goes forever. And that's a really, in the white, I'm started with the white. That's a great bourbon cask finish, man.
Yeah, delicious. Really like herbaceous. I get a lot of like herbal notes on this, almost like obviously there's a lot of mint, spearmint, peppermint, or like wintergreen.
There's
Bunch of
even
that
basil.
going on. Yeah, the herbalness though, man, it's like rosemary, but it's like thyme or something like that. It's like kind of just this like slightly bitter, very, very edgy, assertive, but it works so well. And then that bourbon cask is just creamy as hell.
And it's got a little touch of black pepper, but not anywhere near Talisker level pepper. It's a
Right.
very mild, tasty black pepper on the
Man,
back.
coffee, dry
Briny.
coffee, man.
Very briny.
Yeah, really briny. And it just goes, the finish just goes on. God, yeah, that's really good.
I'm going to have a little water before I do a green sip.
Same here.
That was so good, man. Oh, I love that white bottle. I was lucky enough to find two, not even one, but two, sitting on a shelf in that place in Prince George's County. And for like 80, $90 tops each, I was like, sold, sold. I don't have to think about it for a millisecond. And I'm so glad about both of those.
I'm really impressed with how much the like peat and smoke intensity sticks in this 18-year-old. I mean, it could be because they punched up the ABV a little bit to maybe help bring that out more. Because I mean, if you look back to like the 15, which was also, I believe, ex-bourbon, and it was 43, like it was a lot tamer. Like this thing is a much more aggressive whiskey than that one is, and I mean aggressive in a positive way. But
right,
yeah, all right. So Green Tube.
And it's weird. I wish that the 15 is good, but it is so much milder comparatively. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Hmm. Oh.
Wow.
Wow. That's very different.
Isn't it? They're two totally different drams, really.
Yeah. This is so much more oily and stickier. I feel like it's not as loud. Like everything seems a little bit more harmonious in this one, where I was getting a lot of those herbal notes on the first one in the mint. Like I feel like that stuff is here, but there's a bit of that sweet fruit pear that's kind of like mellowing it out a bit. And the finish too, like the finish it's like stronger, the caramel, the toffee. It's just like it's stickier, it's hanging around longer. It's got a little bit more depth to the flavor. Huh. Not as briny.
Yeah, so it's so weird. It's like it's not bad. It's just it's definitely got some more oily. I mean, you nailed it with the oils. It's definitely it's a heavier mouth coat, but I wonder if I like the flavor of the green as much as I like the white. That's why I'm kind of fighting myself. I love the nose of the green more than the white, but now I'm wondering if I like the green's palate better. It's kind of crazy. Uh-oh, did you freeze? I think Eric froze. Okay, well, he'll be back in a second. He's still thinking about it. Oh, man. Oh. There he goes. He'll be back in a second. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, man. Did anybody else have the green and the white? Have you had it before? And, oh, here we go.
Sorry, I lost you for a second there.
No, that's cool. Yeah, it was funny because you had the perfect look on your face for a second. Cause it looked like you were deep in thought. Your eyes got really big, and you were like just sitting like this. And I thought you were about to say something, and I was like, "He's not going to say it."
Musing about these Laphroaigs and just hearing like every eighth word you said. Too funny.
Sorry, man.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to decide if I like the it's funny. I like the green nose better than the white, but I'm trying to determine if I like the green palette. I don't know if I like it as much as the white. I think I might like the white more, but I'm fighting with it. What do you think?
I'm not sure either. I agree with you that the nose on the green was more interesting. What I do feel like the green is a little bit, and I'm going to say this in the most neutral way possible. It's just a little bit more, it's a little bit more even. It's a little more flat. Whereas the white tube, like 4 or 5 things are just like getting really loud. This one, I feel like it's a bit more even keel. I'm getting a lot more of like that seaweed kind of umami out of the green tube, which I'm finding really interesting. It's like meatier. It's got like that, maritime flavor that's, I think, is just a little bit stronger in the green, whereas I felt in the white it was a bit dominant. I think I like the green better on the palate too, but for very specific reasons. Not, you know what I mean? Like I'm surprised at how different these are. I'll say that as much right now. Maybe when we put water on them, we go the reverse way.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny because I agree with you about the green being a little more unified with its approach, but on the palate, it's such a nice. It is an oily kind of a feel. It's not as briny, but there's something going on that's just. I'm not getting I was hoping I would get the fruit on the palate like I did the nose, and that's where I'm kind of like, oh man, it was almost gonna be like just annihilated out of the park for me, and that's where I'm kind of like, but maybe the water might bring a little bit of that out. You're right.
Yeah, and maybe we'll just we'll go green white with water, and then just kind of see if like it could just be because we're trying the white first and it's changing our palates or something like that. But let's see how it goes the opposite way. I'm gonna just do a little bit of water in both of these.
Yeah, I'm getting my trusty pipe out here to really fine tune the drops of what I want. I'm talking like 2 drops, and that's it.
Man, there's a nice cigar ash like on that finish of this green tube that I'm really enjoying.
Ashiness, yeah. Ooh.
Man, again though, those fruit notes.
Yeah, they're still there.
Yep.
Now it's becoming like a.
Huh. This is interesting.
Maybe a little more powdered sugar on the nose.
Yep.
A little sweeter. The fruits are still there, but they're kind of even with the powdered sugar. Yeah,
and I'm still getting some of that. Again, the bourbon notes are there. You're getting like the sweet vanilla, a little bit of the caramel, the toffee. There's a bit of that herbaceousness kind of in there as well.
I do like the palate on the green better with a couple of drops of water. I think that did help that. It almost had a kind of I don't want to say tannic, but it had something underlying that was not there on the white for me, but it was pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one, though. Okay. Huh. Nice barbecue finish in that white. I'm sorry, with the green with the drop of water on the palate. I like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going back to the drop on the white to see what we get. It brought out some of the same kind of powdered sugar notes on the nose on that one. Oh yeah, that's so different.
I'm finding the nose is more aligned with water now.
Yeah, the palate though is so.
You're drinking the white?
I just started sipping on the white with the drop of water, and it's amazing how the palates are still different.
It's stronger. It's just so much. The peatiness and the smoke and the mint are just so intense on this. On the 18, I feel like the 18 green is milder than this. It's just a milder pour. This is really aggressive, and I say that in a very good way. But,
that's wild, man. If they could only get the nose of the green with a taste of the white, the finish I like on both. Mm-hmm. The finish I like on both, and that's what's really weird is they both have good finishes. Or just the initial beginning is so different. And like you said, there is a bit of a more of a assertiveness on the white with the palate.
Which makes me think, and maybe this is where this is leading Telex, is like there might just be some older stuff in this green 18. Which is why I think things are a little bit more, married together. It's a little bit harder to pick apart. You're getting a little more subtlety in it, and it's not as like aggressive on the sweet smoke as it is on the white. I wonder if it literally just comes down to the fact that these older bottlings just had more drops of older Laphroaig in it, because that would make sense too, like with the fruit note, right? So when we get to the 25, I think, I'm going to be curious if you pick up something on that. But something that I've noticed in some of the older, the older Laphroaigs and stuff like that, you get, more like tropical fruit. And I wonder
Nice.
if there's a little bit of that happening in this, which makes me wonder if
Oh
perhaps
yeah,
the green has just got a little bit, it got some older stuff. Because you remember, the 18 is just the minimum age of the stuff that's in it. It's not like it's all 18 years old, right? Like they could have easily put, some 24-year-old or something. Who knows, right? I mean, you
that's
just don't know.
true.
But I wonder if that's speaking to the differences here.
I can't get over how much I like the green version's nose than the white. It's just
Mhm.
it's almost like a full star for me. The difference, like the nose on the white, it's good. I give it maybe a 3.75 for just the nose on the white. This
Yeah.
one's like a 4.25 on the nose. To me,
Yeah.
it's dramatically different. It's crazy. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, these are both just absolutely stellar, but I think, I think we could say with confidence, like, there's a difference between these that is, it's both noticeable, and I think it's noticeable all the way through here. And I wonder if, I guess my theory is like they might just have some, like a little bit more older juice in the older 18. It might just be that.
If any of you guys out there have both bottles by chance, I know it's extremely rare by now, but if you do, it is definitely worth a sit by side because I was afraid that we were going to be really struggling to find differences between the two, but they are extremely different. I'm surprised how different they are. And so if you are on the secondary market and you're thinking, I wonder if if it's really worth the extra 50, $100, whatever the differences between the white and the green are, it really just
Yeah.
depends on if you like what we're describing as profiles better, which one
Mhm.
suits your needs, because
Yep.
I could see both good sides to both, and I would still struggle to know which bottle to buy really so far, but
Yeah.
it's tough because I love the nose and the green, but I really like the palette and the white. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like final score wise, I think that these are both just fantastic. I think I would go 4.5 on the green and maybe 4.25 on the white. But I mean, I feel like I'm stretching on that. I feel like the difference is significant enough that there's a decent score difference. But again, like it's really preference. My theory really is I just think that there's a bit more older juice or the casks are just a little bit, were of a different quality for the green than the white. I think the green just is a step above for me just because it has a little bit more nuance to it. And this is, for the record, these are both quite nuanced drams. I mean, like for an 18-year-old peated whiskey to have this much punch and then this much complexity, to be able to find it behind all that smoke is really amazing. But I think that for me, the 12 or the green tube just kind of, it's a little bit more upfront and you don't have to search quite as much for it. And so, yeah, I think I go 4.5 on the green and 4.25 on the white.
yeah, I just did another palette next to each other to see. Man, wow, that's so tough, but I'm thinking I might almost agree with you on this one because of the differences between, like, since I like both palettes and I like both finishes, I love the nose on the green. I like the nose on the white. I'm wondering if, yeah, the green might edge out the white in that regard. Now, coming back to the palette on the green meat, and then going back to the white, wow, those bourbon cast notes are really nice in that.
Yeah, they are.
The white is definitely a little tamer, and the spirit does seem to be more in your face rather than the goodness that you're trying to get off the cask. So I'm thinking that the green is slightly better. Oh man, it's just so tough because of the white one's still really damn good. I'm gonna give the white one based off of this, yeah, like I'm thinking of 4.25 and the green of 4.5.
Yeah.
So 4.25 for the white and 4.5 for the green. They're both really, really solid. Is that the same score you gave?
Yeah, same way. So we ended up kind of in the same places, which is interesting. I wasn't so sure we would when we first started, but yeah, I mean,
I
again,
was
this
about
is
to flip
really
it, but
important to keep, man. Like it's really they're both so good. And just to like underline and bold what you said earlier, if you can find one of these, hopefully you run into a situation like Telex did.
yeah,
And you see this on the shelf somewhere, it's for $100 or whatever, or you decide to pull the plug secondary market if you can find it in that like 160, 170 range. I think with the way prices are now, that's more than a decent price. This is a really, really good whiskey. I think it's probably, well, I mean, we're going to talk about the 25 in a little bit, but like this one for me, I think when I did my top 5 Laphroaigs, this was number 2. And so,
nice.
there's a lot of reason for that. It's freaking fantastic. And it would be so great if this could somehow reappear at some point in time. And I don't hate on the lore, for the record. I know there are a lot of people that hate on it. I think the lore is really damn good,
Yeah, it is.
despite the non-age statement. But it's a fantastic whiskey. But this is a next level above that even.
Yeah, the Daniel Johnston, if you're listening, man, definitely bring back an affordable, above 16, between like 17 and 21, a Laphroaig that we all can get our hands on. That would be glorious. I know that they're probably building back stock from going to the lore for a while, but hopefully we'll get great news in a year or two. I mean, I was happy that they brought the 16 out. It was just such a very oaky cask for me that it just didn't do it as well for me as the 15 did, even at a better ABV. But I'm holding out.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I thought I was really excited about that 16. I saw it was 48% and it was first fill bourbon. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. But the oakiness was true, but it was just so much bourbon forward that like it just didn't any complexity that could have existed in that whiskey just took a lot to find, because it was like peat smoke and bourbon notes, just like in your face. You didn't necessarily even, if it didn't say 16 on it, you wouldn't have guessed it was that old.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you could have been like, hey, this is like a 12-year-old Laphroaig. I mean, here's a good comparison for that. You remember when we did that single cask high grove Laphroaig?
Oh yeah.
The 16 was kind of like that, but even that one I thought had more complexity to it, and there was just more interesting notes to find in it. The 16, yeah, I was just kind of bummed, man. It just didn't from what I wanted and what I was hoping and what I honestly should have expected. Like, it's pretty clear to me that once I should have read the writing on the wall when it was an Amazon exclusive release, that like,
Yeah.
Okay, like this is going to be, oh, cool, they're doing it. But, just like not sure what to expect out of it. But yeah, man, let us know your thoughts in the chat if you have opinions on the 18 or any other Laphroaigs. We've seen some good folks chatting about Laphroaig in here already.
One thing I'd like to bring y'all's attention to, that if you haven't tried it, you really should. It is a travel retail exclusive, but there are ways to get these not at the airport. Just do your homework and you'll know what I mean. Is the Anclemore. If you've never had an Anclemore, you definitely need to get one for your bar, at least one bottle at one point. It is that good and not crazy expensive. So easy to get a secondary market for a reasonable price.
That is still one that I need to get my hands on. I've not had that one yet. I have had, of their travel retails, I haven't had that 1815 just because it was way too expensive. I didn't think it was.
I would skip that one from what I've heard for now. Yeah. That's one, maybe not as bad as the Four Oak, but the Four Oak.
Yeah, definitely skip the Four Oak, and that's going to be the easiest one you find travel retail. It's shite. It's shite. I honestly think that if we did a comparison between that and the Select, I'd be hard pressed to even be able to tell you which one I think would win. It's so boring
He's
and
not joking. It's that bad.
it's not good. And it was like a liter bottle and it was like $60. And I'm like, I love the triple wood 4 oak. This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
The PX is good. The PX is a good one.
I love the PX one. I even like the QA one a lot too. If you like vanilla, the
I haven't
QA
tried that one
cask.
either. Yeah, I haven't. That one and the Anklamore are the ones I have not got to try yet.
If you like a heavily vanilla, like the Twisted Tattoo from Highland Park, that Twisted Tattoo, the QA cask is kind of like that. If you in Laphroaig's version of a very vanilla forward dram, think of it that way.
Sure.
The,
yeah, see Andrew Page mentioning enjoying the 15 more than the 16. Yeah, that 16, man, it was just like I found it at a shop. This was like shortly after it had been out in the UK over Amazon, and I was like, I went into this store. They had 7 bottles of it. It was $75, and I was like, oh my god! I bought 3 of them. I was like, fuck, I gotta have this. And yeah, and I opened it, and I was like, oh, it's not bad. And then it was like after it even oxidized for a couple months, it's like, man, this is just not that great. It was a real bummer.
I agree, Silverlock. At first, the triple wood carriages I was kind of iffy on because I'm not a big fan of the regular triple wood, but that triple wood carriages I think is exactly what the original triple wood needed. More ABV. It seemed like it was a little more open, a little more sweeter, and I like that triple wood carriages a lot actually.
Yeah, I like the regular triple wood actually quite a bit. It's been a long time since I've had it. I actually wouldn't mind getting another bottle of that. The Kerchis triple wood, I liked. I actually expected a little bit more. Like I didn't feel like it. Obviously, with the ABV, it was punchier and had like more intense flavor. I just didn't feel like it was a huge step over the regular triple wood, but I still liked it. I mean, I think it was for me. I think it was like a 3.75 for me. The one that when we talk about the Kerchis ones where they went cask strength with the core range, the one that I really like, and I honestly I think it's probably my favorite of the Kerchis line is the one from 2017, the cask strength, the quarter cask strength.
Yeah,
like 3 notes, man: vanilla, citrus, peat. But it is turned to like 130, and it is so freaking intense and delicious. It is not complex at all, but what it does so damn well. I have like 4 of those, and
wow.
because there was this place selling them for like $65 a piece.
Oh,
I just bought a bunch of them. I think I had 6. I think I've drank 2 or 3, but yeah, absolutely loved it. I liked that one more than the triple wood Kerchis, but I didn't think that was any slouch by any stretch. And I actually like the triple wood Kerchis more than the port and red wine one from this year.
Yeah, that one was to me was a really a drag. I haven't had what I would consider a bad Kerchis in a while. I mean, the 15-year-old Kerchis was okay. Excuse me. It wasn't as good as I was hoping that it would be for me, but all the other Kerchis were pretty good. But that latest one to me was probably the biggest disappointment out of all of them. Really, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I think when we did it, I think I liked it a little bit more than you did. The only one that I didn't. So for the record, I've only had everything from 2014 up. I haven't had I've had the 2013 port. That one's good.
That one's like to die for.
For me, the quarter cask strength and the 200th anniversary 2015 green tube, not the 15, but just the
Right.
200th anniversary. Those two, I think, were the standouts for me. The only one that I didn't love a lot, and I think we've talked about this before, is the one from 16, the Madeira.
Madeira cask, yeah.
That one was really ashy and like almost too tannic for my taste. But again, I had that so early in my journey. I feel like it might be something that's worth to go back to.
I would. I mean, I would definitely not spend the secondary market prices for it, but hopefully you'll run into on our whiskey journey, as I'm sure you've met lots of different people over the last few years. Hopefully somebody you'll meet will be willing to share a little, at least a couple of drams with you or send you a sample, because that is I like the fruit and the sweetness of that one, but it is kind of one of those I've heard people love it or hate it kind of drams.
Hmm.
Same with
Hmm.
some of those other Kyrgyz ones, like and the quarter cask was one that was like that too, where a lot
Yeah.
of people either loved it or weren't into it for some reason. I liked it a lot too. I liked all of them pretty much, and I agree with the 2015 version. That was organic barley. They used off
Yeah.
all things off their own floor and all that. That was tight, and you could taste it. And that's where that terroir thing comes from, really, too. If you
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. I love that one, man. That one was really good.
The
Whiskey.
thing,
Yeah. I'm back in PA with you. Um, yeah, I like the Fino too. I love the Amontillado one. That was from 2014, but man, you're lucky if you can find any of those anymore. That one was really good.
which one?
The Carchis from 2014, it was the Amontillado.
Oh yeah, I was lucky enough to find a bottle in California of all places and had it shipped, and they didn't know what they had. I think because my friend, Lee Evolved,
Mm-hmm.
he tried to. I gave him a heads up. I'm like, hey, dude, I just got the 2014 carriages from this place in California. This is a few years ago, but he tried to jump all over it and called, and they were like, yeah, we'll send you out a carriages. Guess what they sent him?
Oh,
2015.
oh really?
Yeah, they didn't have any more of or it might have even been in 2016. They didn't have the yellow one anymore. And I was so adamant about making sure it was right before I bought it. I made the lady go and pick it out, and I was like, "Is there a yellow tube,
Yeah.
or is this what color is it?"
Yeah.
She said yellow, and I'm like, "That's the one we want, baby. Put that in the
Yeah.
cart."
Yeah, man. No, that's the thing. Like, especially when you're online shopping, you cannot trust the pictures that those places put on. I've done the same thing, bro. I had them go, like, I was like, can you just, they're like, yeah, it's Carchis. And I was like, yeah, but is it the yellow or the green? And they're like, they got some guy from
Uh,
the warehouse dude on the phone, and I'm like, yo, man, like, I know it says you got 3 bottles of these. I just need to know, is it actually this yellow one or is it the green one? And they're like, it's the green one. I was like, okay, I still want it, but I just wanted to make sure. I want to anticipate what I'm getting,
and this
because
is really
when you get those special releases, man, you just don't know.
Oh yeah, and
You
this is
just
another good real example of this is also when it comes to just basic stuff. You got to be really really careful when you're buying stuff. The Glenlivet 18 is a prime example where I've done a recent review where they've changed the ABV from 43 to 40, and they've kind of knocked it down a notch on quality. So when
yeah,
I re-reviewed it, it was a 3.75 instead of a 4 that I gave the old version of the 18. And
yeah.
sure enough, when you buy these online, you got to be, even if it's something that you're used to buying all the time, sometimes you got to get them to get it out and give you the bottle code. I mean, you got to get technical with these guys sometimes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Another one this happens a lot with Lagavulin 12 cask strength.
Oh
Not,
yeah,
not there is not a bad version, but there's just good and better. And like most of the time, they don't even put an age on the website, and you don't know which one they're going to send you. Like they're just going to send you whatever they have, and you might be like, pining for a specific year or a couple different years, and they send you something you didn't expect. I had that happen with another one is Springbank 12 cask strength.
oh yeah.
It has so much variation. There's so much variation in those.
Is it
And
the
you
black
never
bottle
know.
or the black and red bottle or
Yeah, the black and red.
That's the one I remember. The black and red was a really really good one. What
Yeah.
do they change the look of them recently?
No, but the thing is like, they don't put batch numbers on them. They just have different ABVs. So they release
Oh,
like 2 of them a year or something like that. And you can go online and there's people who say like, oh, batch 13 is this ABV. But like, if they don't tell you the ABV on the website, like you're just rolling the dice. You're looking at the calendar and you're like, okay, it's been 4 months since the last one came out. That's the one I want. Like, okay, if I buy this, like it's probably going to be the new one. But if it's some shop that doesn't sell a lot of these, it's going to be like the one that you already have because you you bought it 8 months ago or whatever. Yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is another one on the bourbon side of it. Stag Junior, that kind
that's
of
a good
stuff.
point. Always definitely double check your vendors.
Yeah.
That's basically the bottom line, and it'll definitely save you a lot of hassle because Lee had to complain and had to ship it back, and they took forever to credit his card back, and I think that literally took a long time, and finally he got it sorted out. But I know he was not happy about that whole experience.
No, I can't imagine.
But
Yeah.
it goes
I
to
mean,
show. I mean,
so many of these liquor stores, man, like, dude, they don't update the images and stuff for this stuff. Like they don't put all the details necessarily. Like they're just, like these are, and like to some of their credit, some of these places are just like little one-off stores. But like, there are some places that try to pride themselves on having so much great scotch and all this, and then they just like don't tell you any information. You're like, fuck,
it's
man.
sad. Total Wines is like that, and
Yeah,
Cannonball and all those big box, like, especially the state-run places are like that, where they don't ever update their images. They're like the carriages. You pull it up, and it's like, holy shit, they got the carriages from 2008, and it's like, oh,
yeah. Oh no, they just haven't updated their website in a decade.
sadly,
funny.
that's true, man.
Well, top of
You
the
ready?
hour.
Yeah.
Shall we head into the next of our Laphroaigs here?
Oh yes, we shall, man. I've been looking forward to this for a long, long, long time.
Yeah. So we're gonna our final Tasty Tuesday dram of 2020. We're gonna end things on a high note because it's gonna make things better in the future. That's what we think. This is gonna good vibes into 2021. So Laphroaig, 25-year-old. This is a natural cask strength, 48.9% ABV. There is considerable variation between the releases of 25s. So like some of them will have sherry, some won't. Some will be higher ABV, some will be lower ABV. There's a lot of difference.
Oh, this is the new one. You got the new one. This is 2020's version, dude. That's awesome.
No, this is like 2016.
The 2020 they've got as 49.8 though. You sure?
Oh, this is 48.9.
48.9.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
I think this is 2016.
48.9. I'm just looking around here. 48. Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, that's okay. Here's what the bottle looks like. These run probably in the $500 to $700 range average. There are places you can find them cheaper. So here's the tail of the tape on this. 48.9% ABV, 25 years old. It is non-chill filtered. So here on the back label, it is a marriage of second fill Oloroso sherry and American bourbon barrel. So this is a sherry and a bourbon, which is fantastic. Blah, blah, blah. A little bit more, flannel, as they say on the back of this. Extremely rare and unique liquid that was matured in Oloroso sherry and American oak casks and bottled at cask strength. So the cask strength on this, right? You might, if it's 48.9%. How is that cask strength? It's mostly because like it's 25 years old and it's just oxidized so much probably over the years that this is as natural as it could be, right? Like there's no way to prevent the ABV from dropping that much, I'm assuming. So that's the tail of the tape here on the Laphroaig 25.
This sounds so good. I mean, anything that from Laphroaig in that age with sherry, it's got to be pretty good. You would think.
Yeah.
Having a palate.
Yeah, you go right ahead. You can take lead on this one whenever.
No, you go ahead. This is your show on this one, man.
So, I mean, it's Laphroaig. The rich iodine peat smoke is there. It's still pretty strong. There's really nice, again, light vanilla notes. But the thing that stands out more than on any other Laphroaigs is the tropical fruit. And I'm talking like pineapple, maybe mango. Like there are some bright tropical fruits going on in this that you really just do not pick up in younger Laphroaigs. It's very rich. There's some citrus. I mean, it's the nose is just freaking fantastic.
Wow, man, it does have some amazing fruit in there comparatively.
Incredible. Like the fruit notes are so assertive, considering again that this is such a like heavily peated Scotch. As you go, a little bit of that mint and that herbal is in there. But it's really the star of the show here for me is just this sweet fruit, which I can only really, I feel like, describe as it's like tropical.
Yeah, there's like, you nailed it with the mango. There's pineapple. You even got some juicy fruit gum in there too.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
You definitely still get, you can sense the brininess even on the nose that's still there. That's nice.
Yeah.
This has a really nice effervescence to it, even more so than the 18s. I'm not sure how it's done with the 25, but
yeah, I mean, I feel like if you compare them side by side, this is like it's a lighter whiskey. It's a little bit lighter. It doesn't feel as dark and as like rich as on the nose as the 18 does. And have you had this before, Telex?
I want to say that when we were at an expo, I was lucky enough. I remember to have a 27, a 30, and a 32, but not the 25. So
Gotcha.
This is the first time I've ever had this particular one.
Are you getting any kind of like dry red fruit? I mean, I almost want to say like cranberry, like obviously there's some apple.
Oh yeah, you nailed it with the cranberry and it's got this. It's deep in there. It's funny because it's a bright, sprightly nose, but yet there's this undercurrent of. It's not like plum level or anything like that, but it is at least a heavy strawberry.
Yep.
With cranberries and more tartness too.
Yeah, exactly. Whew.
Maybe even like a. I think I like I was about to say radish, but the apple, the red apple sounds. It's a better fit.
Yeah, this has got so much going on.
Definitely some earthiness. All right, I'm gonna have a sip.
Plancha.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Wow. Okay.
Oh, sweet, slightly sour, slightly bitter.
That sweetness balances it all out, though, really in a nice way.
It really does.
Oh, that's complex. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, like it arrives deceptively sweet. It's these really bright fruits. It's banana. It's kind of like chocolate, like milk chocolate. There's those tropical notes. You get a little bit of the sharpness that acidity that you get off of like a pineapple, and then it just goes into full Laphroaig mode. Tons of complexity with it, though. I mean, there's the core of it again is this nice peat smoke, but it's very well balanced, but it's assertive enough. The ash, the milk chocolate, the finish has this nice bananas Foster thing going on again with the mint.
Man, I love those chocolate covered strawberries. Those are so
good. Yeah.
Wow, and it was funny. Earlier when I was nosing it, I thought I detected like a banana, but I thought maybe not. I held it back, but now that you got that in the finish, I don't feel like I'm an idiot. I definitely sensed kind of a little bit of a banana in there somewhere. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's very tropical. You're right on the older Laphroaigs, and even when I was testing the 27, I remember it being a lot like this, where it had that nice plethora of tropical fruit in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I did earlier this year. I did like a live show. We did basically a Laphroaig fest with Mike from Mike's Whiskey Reviews.
Hmm.
where we did like the 18, we did the cast strength, we did the regular 10, we did the lore, we did the 25. And as I was tasting the 25, I remember, I'm like going through the notes, and then there was just something I just couldn't quite put my finger on. Mike was like, "Are you getting like tropical fruit?" And I was like, "That's what it is." It's like I was in the like juicy fruit gum territory, which you picked up, which I totally get in this as well. But there's like a little bit more there, and I couldn't figure it out. And Mike was like, "No, it's this tropical fruit thing." And I'm like, "No, you're right." And I started picking it up a lot. Really good.
There's even papayas in this. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. And I love the fact that even though at an older age, you still get the bourbon influence, the cask influence there, the vanillas and the toffees and
Yeah.
this butterscotch is all still there, but there's really this nice balance of sweetness. The florals aren't as intense, but that's a good thing actually for me, because I don't like the florals as much as the fruit and the other things we've been talking about. But the brininess is thankfully still there.
I'm gonna go just a dab of water.
Yeah, it's not like in your face like the 18 brininess, but it's still detectable at least.
Yeah,
just a little dab.
Man, nice Scotch mist coming on that already.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Indeed. There's like a root beer thing in this too. There's just so much. It's like it changes so much in the glass. Like it's like a cream soda or like a cola. It's something like effervescent carbonated or something.
It's the cream, cream soda. I think you nailed it with that.
Maybe not root beer. Maybe I think it's more cream soda. Wow.
Because I love cream soda, and that definitely nails it for me. Oh, the finish is definitely like a good A&W cream soda, man.
Yeah, right. Like the end of a root beer float. Man, that nose though. Wow.
It's too much. It's too bad this doesn't just grow on trees, man. I'd be picking me some Laphroaig trees. I'd have a whole orchard full myself. Hopefully you guys are lucky enough someday. I know it's not easy, because these bottles, when you get up to the 25-year range, we're talking, 5 to 7, right?
Yeah. The only I mean, for the record, the only reason I even have these is because there was this place selling them for $3.25 a piece, and I was like, I bought two. I was like, wow. I'll never find that anything like, I'll never find it that cheap. But yeah, your average on these, I mean, this goes anywhere from the like $5.50 to $7.50 range, I think.
I mean, I can see why, but man, to find these at $3 something, oh holy, I would buy I might not be able to afford a case, but I would try my best to.
Yeah, it's an investment in your future.
Big time. I mean, this would last. That would last you like the rest of your life of Christmases, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing. It was the same thing that happened to me with the Brook-Lottie Black Art 4.1. I found those for $3.35. I mean, and this was 2 years ago. I bought three. I was just like, fuck it. I'm just like, look at 3 bottles. I bought them all. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to do it. I wish I would have grabbed another one of these, because I'm almost out of this one. But
oh man,
yeah, I mean, it's a special pour, man.
It really is. I mean, geez, I can't imagine. I found some decent deals, but deals like that are crazy.
Well, and I know I've probably told it before, but I have to, since we're talking about deals and we're drinking Laphroaig, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this bad boy, the best deal I've ever got on a single malt scotch ever. And I haven't opened it yet. I'm saving it for some type of special occasion, but this is the Laphroaig 28.
Oh, you bastard.
And so my brother he's a bourbon head. And so he periodically would send me pictures. He's out hunting for bottles or something. He'd send me pictures of stuff that he's, sees and wonders if I would like, and normally it's like stuff I'm just like, I'm not going to pay $400 for a bottle of whiskey, at the time. And so he sends me one day a picture of this Laphroaig 28. And I like laughed at him. I was like, ha! I was like, yeah, I would love that, man. How much is he selling it for? And he goes, $200.
Oh my God.
He was like, how many does he have? And he's like, he's got one. This is a guy at a local shop in his home, in the town where he lives. I was like,
sold.
buy it immediately. I didn't even blink. I was like, if he has more or can get more and will sell it at that price, I will buy all of it.
Wow.
Yeah, best deal I've ever got. And yeah, I'm saving it for maybe not a rainy day, but there will be an occasion upon which I will crack open this 28-year-old Laphroaig. But yeah, man, I mean, that was just, I couldn't believe it. I thought he was lying to me, but he didn't really understand Scotch prices at the time. So he's like, huh? Like, no, man, that's like a $900 bottle of whiskey. Like, are you kidding me? Buy it right now.
That might be a vaccination bottle.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, that might be the time to do it. I mean, I find sometimes you get a nice bottle, and if you can't afford to buy nice bottles all the time, you kind of like, build this idea in your head of like someday that this is going to be the important thing to drink. But man, if COVID has taught us anything, it's like, man, like you don't even know if you're going to be around in 5 years. Like
That's true.
Lower your like conjecture standard for a little bit and like, just try to enjoy while you can. Like, who knows, man? In 5 years, I don't know what's going to happen. I didn't realize, if you'd asked me 5 years ago what I'd be doing in 2020, nobody would have said trying to hide from a fucking pandemic. So it's like, man, you're going to sit on that whiskey for how long, right? Before at the end of the day, maybe you don't even get the chance to drink it. So I don't know. It's humbled me a little bit in that sense. And it's making me realize that I should probably just, sooner or later, maybe in 2021, maybe you're right. Vaccine sounds like a good take. Let's freaking crack the thing open, man. Let's see what we're working with, I'm not going to scare this thing forever.
This is getting better and better, man. It's got this like, what do they call? You take like, I mean, you don't make casserole out of it, but like a strawberry, like what's a crumble? Do they make like a strawberry crumble? Or
like a cobbler?
Yeah, like do they make strawberry cobbler?
I think so.
I mean, this reminds me. It's a little more granular, a little more hefty than a cobbler, though. It's like strawberry in that really like almost like not oats, but like a really good compote, I guess. Strawberry compote, I guess, is what I'm trying to get. It's getting thicker with time. Those red fruits are like building up even on the nose.
Yeah.
What did I miss? Oh, the opening day. Yeah, that'll be make any day a great day for that. Oh my goodness, man! It's unbelievable. It's got a really really long finish too.
Yeah.
Trying to.
Yeah, it's a tasty one, man. So, what do you think? You got final thoughts on this one yet?
Wow, it's nice and thick. The nose and the palate are better than the 18s, both versions. It's got this really nice presence of sweetness that you can't get off either version of the 18 on the palate. That sherry really, really saves, I think, a lot of things when it comes to that. It's wow. I don't taste any. It's so well aged that you don't really taste any. The old, what you would consider like a young whiskey off of it that I can gather. It's maybe it has some coloring, but is that like going to really make or break the deal? Not in this. I mean, it's not super dark by any means. For 25, it's what you expect it to be like.
Right.
Non-chill filtered, 48.9% is a great ABV.
Yeah.
I can't really bitch about this one at all, and I love what I've been taking. Man, the only thing you could really do to it is age it more. So I'm going to say 4.75 out of 5 on this one.
Nice.
And it handles water both really well. It's great neat and with water.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, I think this is a stellar pour. I I like the tropical fruit angle of it. It does add something a little bit more dynamic and interesting. You're right that it holds up water. I think this thing sitting out could get even more interesting. Let it sit for like an hour or something like that. That said, my it's a little bit it's a little bit tamer than I would necessarily want for something that's cast strength. Now I understand why. It's 25 years and it's 48.9%, but I do just feel like I was hoping for a little bit more punch out of it. But it is a very delicate dram, and honestly, like as things get older, that's the way it goes. So I can't bitch about that too much. As for like the price, I mean, for me, and this is where I think you and I where my score diverges. Like, this is just simply for what you're getting. You're getting a great pour, but this is incredibly expensive. I do not think this is a $500 bottle of whiskey. Like, when you compare it to the 18, which we were just drinking earlier, which maybe doesn't have the level of complexity, but has a lot of complexity and is at 48% and is also non-chill filtered. I'm remiss. Like, I'd be remiss if I didn't note that, like, you're basically paying triple for a bottle of that. And so, while I'm with you on the juice, I think it's really good. I mean, I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on this one, which is, I do recommend getting it. But again, the caveat being, find a deal, because this thing it's so good. But my God, I couldn't tell. If I would not buy it for $500, and that's the low end of the going price these days. I just don't think it's, there are whiskeys that I would pay $500 for. Brookline Black Art, probably the 3.1 or 4.1. I would probably go $500 for that. I'm not sure that this one I would. And so that's why I'm probably going to go a bit lower on it.
I got you. It's wild. I'm surprised at how well the peat actually holds up in this compared to other 25s that are peated, though. But I know where you're coming from. It is it's tough, but man,
yeah, I think if I took cost, just for context sake, if I took cost out of the equation, this is like probably a 4.5, maybe 4.25. Right in that range for me. Yeah.
But I've seen like the 18 white bottle even for 3 plus. I mean, I've seen it go for a lot. Yep. I mean, I wouldn't pay that money now for it, but I'm just saying that since it's not available anymore and it's been a few years since it's been available, you're not going to, in that green bottle, dude, that goes for $500, like easy nowadays.
Let me just just to like make sure that I'm not off my rocker here, I'm going to just throw this in Wine Searcher. Laphroaig 25. So I'm seeing 460. So I'm on the low end, I'm seeing 400, 469, 599, 629, 695. I mean, so like the range on this is all over the place. I mean, here's this place selling it for 800. So like average, 600, 575, $600.
Yeah.
Maybe 475. I don't know. Like, I guess here's the thing. For me, it's not. It doesn't have the wow. Like, it doesn't have the wow the way. So I'm trying to get some other 25-year-old whiskey or whiskeys I've had that are in that price range. Glengoyne 25, Redbreast 21, Brookline Black Art, Ball Blair 90. Like, those all had like wow factors for me. This one is like a half wow. It's like, wow, this is really interesting. And like, I like how there's a little bit more nuance going to this compared to the 18, but to me, it doesn't just like blow the 18 out of the water. Or the low. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. But again, it's no slouch and I freaking love it. So.
Yeah, for me, I'm surprised at how I must like it a little bit more than both versions of the 18. I was surprised at how well the red, because it's really hard to get an older aged peated whiskey, not only to retain the peat, but to also give you that level of fruit. That to me
Mhm.
was like impressive. And I mean, I'm not sure if I would hold it right next to the Ardbeg 20 something, which I guess it is going. It's competing with that.
Yeah.
It's funny that they're I guess what this one has that one doesn't has, to me, I do detect more refinement in the 25 from Laphroaig than I do the Ardbeg 20 something. So
Interesting.
it's got
Yeah.
more powerful, flavors maybe on the Ardbeg side, but this one for some reason has some sort of like character or something about it that I guess it's that it's got this little bit of slight funkiness still there that gives it its character. And even though the iodine is not in your face like the 18 might be, more so it's not really in your face anymore either, but you know what I mean.
Right.
It hasn't lost its luster, 'cause once you get above like 21 years on a lot of these peated whiskeys, it's really tough to find something that really does wow you. That's what's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm with you on that. I think that's true. And I guess, and this is something that I still feel like I need to explore more for myself, but I'm just not sure like older peated whiskeys are like, if I'm looking at buying something that's older that's going to have a lot of complexity, like is a peated whiskey the way I want to go? Like I'm not sure. I mean, my favorite Laphroaig of them all is the Laphroaig 10 cask strength, and that's because it's so intense and powerful, which is what I want when I'm drinking a Laphroaig. But
Yeah.
it also has a ton of complexity to it because of the natural cask strength. And I haven't had a really old Ardbeg. I haven't had any of the old Bowmores. I haven't had I mean, obviously we're going to potentially have the Buna. I have yet to drink any really older Lagavulins. But my feeling is like, if there was going to be a distillery that makes a really old whiskey that would make me think twice about investing heavily in a highly aged peated whiskey, it would probably be Lagavulin. Like I feel
Yeah.
like their style might be a little bit more like give me a second guess. But for the most part, when I think about buying something that's going to be higher age, I'm thinking about Highlands or Speyside. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about like a Glengoyne or Highland Park or something like that. I just because I feel like at some point the peat become the peat might actually mask or take away some of the other stuff that I could find. And maybe that's just me and I have to develop my palate more, but I can only be where I'm at.
Well,
So
but you brought up a really good point, and I think someone like Steven and some of these other guys that have been around the block for a while would probably
yeah.
agree with you. Is that I think we not only have to look at the age when it comes to peat, but we have to keep up the ABV. So it might take a 52+% ABV whiskey that's high age to do us justice. And Laphroaig does come out with some of them from time to time. It's not easy to find, but
Right.
I guess we'll have to keep our eyes out for a high, not just aged Isla whiskey, but also one that's at least 50 to 52% ABV, maybe. But this is
Yeah,
like
that would be fun,
48.9.
man.
It's right there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the only thing you could do is maybe raise it to like 52%. I'm thinking.
Right, right. And even then, I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to try, but yeah, I mean, like this is clearly like a more subtle, complex Laphroaig, and they do it. I mean, it's a really great example of what they can do with it. I would say. I guess it's like when it comes down to it's just kind of like I said. I'm just like I don't know, right? I feel like I get more overall like the difference between a younger and an older heavily peated Scotch seems like, while significant, less significant than like a older versus younger, just like a Highland Park or like a I don't know, like a Glengoyne, something like that.
Yeah. Steven says, I need to send you guys samples of punchy, complex 20+ Isla whiskeys. Higher
Yeah.
aged Isla bottles is where it's at, but you need to stay away from certain official bottlings. And yeah, that's the
Mhm.
thing too. Is it's the weird thing is, I mean, Laphroaig and Lagavulin are pretty good about getting their stuff out there, but Ardbeg does not do a boatload of it. I mean, they do have Adelphi does some independent bottlings. It's just not easy to find really good Isla independent bottlings. It seems like
Yeah,
unless you know what you're looking for.
that boutique whiskey company's got like I've seen they have like a 12-year-old Ardbeg. They have like a 13 or 12-year-old Laphroaig. couple pork charlottes. So I mean, they have some, but they're not that old. I mean, they're like I haven't. They have one that's like one of their elements of Isla or something. It's like a 20-year-old or something like that. But I haven't seen anything significantly old.
Yeah, I think we just have to keep our eyes up on some of these Islas that are independent, that are high ABV. That's something to shoot for. Definitely a good idea there, Stephen. We'll have to. I've seen a couple here and there. I know he's got some really nice Taliskers that are up there in age, like 25, 30-year-olds that are cast strength. I would love to get my hands just to taste. I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. definitely.
I'll have to keep my eyes up. It's all about the price sometimes, though, too.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to pour myself a bit of Lagavulin 12 cast strength, actually, to continue with the peat here. But curious, Telex, as we're heading into the new year. I mean, looking back on what you've been able to taste in 2020, and maybe folks in the chat have some things they want to share too. But like, what pours really stood out for you this year?
The funny thing is, I kind of feel vindicated a little bit. I was watching Ralphie do his Scotch of the Year recently, and if you guys already know, Ralphie's like one of the original YouTube people for Scotch across the board, and his Whiskey of the Year was the Aaron 10, and I thought, well, that's interesting. We all seem like we've dove into Aaron's new line and what they have to offer, and my Whiskey of the Year, even before he even acknowledged that the Aaron 10 was his, was the Aaron 21. I thought was just absolutely fucking phenomenal. The best whiskey I've had, and I'm an Isla Campbelltown guy mostly, and for me to stay in the islands area and love what Aaron's doing now. And for him to say that about their 10-year, man, Aaron is like going to be, I think, the distillery to really watch. You had the Bothy, I think, and some other things recently, right?
Yeah, I do have the Bothy, and I enjoy quite a bit. That's one that we'll have to taste. And I actually have purchased a bottle of the 21. So I had to. Good. But
did you already open it?
Yeah.
What did you think? Or just
yeah, it's fantastic. It's spicy. It's got a lot of rich. It's really rich. It was like it's changed a lot in the glass just drinking. I think it's better than the Highland Park 21 that I have, as a point of comparison. I enjoy it quite a bit.
I was hoping you felt the same way, because I was thinking it was just funny because when I even did a side by side with the Aaron 21 and the Benriach 21. And it just kicked the shit out of the Benriach 21. I hate to say it, but it just beat it down the block, and it came back and beat it down the block again another time. It was that different. It's crazy. Yeah,
definitely. That's cool, man. Any other ones that really stood out to you?
I'm gonna say, and I'm just trying to make sure that we had, if I mentioned something that we've tried it already. The Altmore 21 was pretty good. I did enjoy the Altmore 21 a bit. Trying to think of something in Isla that we've done. We haven't done it together yet, but I think you're really going to enjoy. I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised immensely by the Kilchoman slightly peated bourbon and slightly peated sherry casks.
Yeah. We got to do those.
I send them to you, so we'll definitely have to do a show, later down the road, and maybe tie in maybe one more Kilchoman to it. If you, I think I lost him there. Let's see if he comes back here, but he did he's got a Kilchoman Moncure Bay cast strength that I think will be really good. That we might tie into those two Jack Rose picks that I picked up. Those were really nice, and take advantage of that. I'm just looking on the side here. Oh, here he goes.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened.
No, that's okay. What were you saying?
We were talking about the Kilchomans.
Yeah, I was just saying that I think you'll like the slightly peated bourbon and the sherry versions, the Jack Rose picks. I think once we do those show, if you want to do the Moncure Bay 21, I'm sorry, the Moncure Bay cast strength one, maybe we can do that together.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I remember when you brought those up to me. I wish I would have pulled the trigger on those because like anything that's picked by Jack Rose is going to be like
Oh, I didn't mind because I was like,
yeah, I did a tasting with the Philadelphia Whiskey Society. We had a tasting with Jack Rose, a virtual tasting. This is 2 weeks ago, where we did a Blanton's single barrel bourbon pick that they did, and then we also did a Weller full proof pick that they did, and they were both just killer, and a medley, which was just awesome. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple this year that really stood out to me. I'm going to be dropping my top 5 whiskey thing. It'll be there tomorrow, or what is it, tomorrow or Thursday. But a couple that like really stood out to me. The Deanston red wine Bordeaux cask, the 9-year-old, it's like the 2008. That was just absolutely killer, and it was cheap too. It's like $70. And you can still find it. Absolutely awesome pour. Springbank 15, that Long Row 13, a couple others, a Knock 18, a Knock 24, the Ben Romick 15 that we did a couple, I think, like the last show. Man, that was
phenomenal. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That was one of my top. I say it's definitely in the top 3 for this year so far already. I mean, this next coming year.
Yeah, that one was so good. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, man, and we got a lot.
Have you already had the Balvenie 21 Portwood before?
No.
I think we're gonna do this together. I think you're gonna like that one. I'll be surprised if you don't. I guess depends on if you like Tawny versus Ruby Port, things like that. But it's gonna be interesting. I was pleasantly surprised by that one. So I'm definitely looking forward to that above a lot of the other 21s that we've got coming up. That one's going to be fun. I'm definitely, the more I'm getting into Balvenie, the more I'm liking. I just wish that the tune wasn't such a letdown when I had it. That's the only thing.
I've yet to get the opportunity to try that.
It's such a, it was probably the environment affected the experience a lot too, because it was one of those tastings. But I'm just surprised of how not killer it was to me. But you almost have to get a bottle to sit down and try. So I'm sure we'll do that with each other eventually here in the next year or so.
Yeah. Speaking of Balvenie, have you had? So we did that one Balvenie. We did the 12 single barrel, which was really fantastic. I think I remember you enjoyed that one too. Have you had this one? This is the week of peat. The peated Balvenie.
Yeah, I haven't had that exact version, but I've had the peat weeks of both the 14 and the 17, and both were good. I enjoyed them. What did you think about that one?
Well, I've been enjoying it. Yeah, I like it a lot. Balvenie is one of those distilleries that, like, I do feel I've kind of maybe given. I don't know, like I just kind of overlooked a lot, but every time I have one, I'm like, dude, they make good juice. Like, I remember the first Balvenie I ever bought. It was one of the first single malts I ever bought. Was the 14 Caribbean cask. And I was like, yo, like, this is seriously good stuff. And then, like,
solid, yeah.
I had the double wood and like whatever, it's fine. But I didn't buy it. I don't think I had another Balvenie for like up to 2 years. And then I bought that single barrel, the first fill bourbon one. And I was like, holy cow, this is really good. And then, and now this one. So it's just one of these places that for whatever reason, I've just not explored a lot, but every time I do, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Hold on. Have you ever had the Balvenie single barrel 15 sherry? Have you had that one?
No, no,
Dude, oh,
no.
holy shit. That's one of the best drams, man. I'm telling you, man. If you ever see that 15 single barrel available, you've got to pull the trigger. I don't care if well, I do care, but I don't want you to overspend, but you know what I mean? You got to pick that sucker up, dude.
Dude, man, do you want to know how many times that's been in my cart and then I put it away because I didn't want to spend like I basically when I online shop, I just check the box of everything I want and then I throw it all in the cart and then I look at the cart. That one always gets removed and I don't know why. I swear I've done it a dozen times. I'll see it's like 120 bucks and I'm like, oh, I gotta get this. Like this is the time I'm gonna finally buy it, and then I just never do.
It's well worth the price, I promise you. Even though it's like 120 or whatever it is, for the 15, it's really, really, really well done. It's one of the best sherried whiskeys I've had, next to the Glendronach 15 and the Glengoyne. You know, some of those, and I mean, it's right up there. It's solid, man. It's funny because I mean, Balvenie gets, I think, a rep because of some of the stuff they do. Is high priced, and I think they usually do the no chill filtering, no coloring thing. Mostly. The Double Wood 12 didn't really. It was one of the first bottles that I bought too from them, and it kind of underwhelmed me. I was kind of like, wow, this is all you get for a Double Wood 12. I was like kind of depressed, but once I went and waited and then went to the Caribbean 14, I was like, oh no, that's a good whiskey. And then I went to the 15 single, great sherried whiskey, is one of the best ever. Went to the 17 Double Wood. Now that's a really good. That was one of the original ones that I got back here. I might have moved it already, but that Double Wood is really good, the older one. And then I went to that Portwood recently that we're going to take a look at, and the quality is so much better. And they're not like a Dalmore where you're not feeling like you're getting what you're paying for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So next time you have it in your next time you have to have it in your cart, you have to keep it there, man.
I know. I got to do it. A bunch of comments came in on that. Cohen said that this 15 single barrels can vary. Steven said, grab the dark ones of the Balvenie sherry if you can find it, not the lighter ones, the dark ones. And then Peter said, make sure that they can be refill. And then Gary said they differ a lot too. So that's interesting. I'm not. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. I'm not super familiar, but what's up, Disappear?
Oh, don't worry about asking questions, man. That's why I run this channel. I'm not doing it to try to do anything but get people talking about whiskey, helping each other, learning about it, trying to make it where you don't make the same mistakes that we've made before.
Yeah.
There you go.
His question was actually up above a little bit. That why do they create a new name for Scotch made by the same company that is also the same year?
New name for Scotch made by the same company the same year. Are you talking about the Carriages? The reason for that is because Laphroaig does a yearly thing that a lot of these other distilleries do. It's called Festil, FEIS space ILE. And it's basically just a festival for Islay that they do every year. And Ardbeg takes part in it. Laphroaig does. Bunnahabhain, all these places do. And to differentiate each year, they want you to know it's their official release. Like for Ardbeg, they call it their committee release. That's their official type of release every year. And for Laphroaig, they call it the Carriages. And some of them don't do that. Like for Bunnahabhain, I think they mix it up, and they might have like a Moyne release. They might have like some off the wall like Paulo Colorado, cask or whatever. I'm not sure how else you can really explain it other than that.
Yeah, no, I think that grabs it well. And the only other thing I would add is that there are a few distilleries who release things under different brand names. So like, for example, Springbank, they release things under the Springbank name, which is like a lightly peated, I guess. But then they also have a heavily peated range, which is called Long Row. So it's all like not called Springbank, they call it Long Row. And then they have a triple distilled unpeated they call Hazelburn. So like they're from the same distillery, but the style is significantly different enough that they just have like a different brand name for it.
Yeah, someone else does it like that too, besides Springbank. I'm trying to remember who it was that recently. Like Glengyle has Kilkerran.
Yeah, Glengyle. Yeah.
I think somebody else. Loch Lomond. Loch Lomond has their usual releases, but for the repeated stuff, they call it Inchmuren. So if you ever see an Inchmuren, you know it's a peated version of a Loch Lomond series malt.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And the Inchmuren, I think, is also done in Taiwan versus I think it's like the Taiwanese market thing that they've got going or something. It's weird. That's no problem, man. That's what we're here for.
Sure.
Good to see him out here. I know I've seen him before.
Yeah, what's up out here? Yeah, he's beams his signal from India. And he just got his hands on his first Lagavulin, if I'm not mistaken, the Lagavulin 16.
Oh, congratulations, man, from India. That's awesome. Yeah, if you're is he just starting out in Scotch, or do you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to know anything about Amrut, man, he's the guy to talk to because he knows more about it than anybody I've ever talked to. But yeah, no, we were talking a couple weeks ago on my happy hour about just like he was getting into some peated stuff. I think Maher, correct me if I'm wrong, you had a Laphroaig, and then you were looking to kind of take the next step. And I think we were talking about some different options, and like Lagavulin 16 came up, and I think that's the way you went. And hopefully you've cracked that open and enjoyed it so far, because your first experience with Lagavulin 16 is an experience.
Oh, definitely, man. I'll never forget that place down in D.C. in Columbia Heights called the Tip Cow, that Cambodian restaurant that had the catfish dish with the oh man, the Lagavulin 16 was perfect with the mango. It all made sense. It was precious bliss. It was beyond belief. If you just got your hands on Lagavulin 16, I'm sure you'll like it. If you like Laphroaig and other ones, another one that's a good. Besides the Lagavulin 16, I guess the Ardbeg Ugadal would be a good one maybe to try.
Yeah, I think that would be the next one I would go to. Especially after you have the Lagavulin 16, I feel like that's a nice transition. Yeah.
Never buy a 15 cask online. You need to check the bottle first. Wow, I'm glad people are telling me this because I was lucky. I just went into the to Petite Cellars, the place I get some of my good stuff from, and picked up the bottle, and it looked like it was a dark sherry bottle. That's why I picked it up. But I never thought of the issue where you have to order and check the bottle kind of thing.
No, I didn't either. This is good to know. So thanks for the heads up, y'all.
Oh wow, they're talking about the body cam. That's crazy. Yeah, it's really sad what happened on in Christmas there in Nashville. I feel the tornadoes and all that stuff. Nashville's had a hell of a year. It's crazy.
Right.
I'm gonna drink one for Nashville.
Yeah. Speaking of, so I was figuring could just give folks a little preview of what they can expect when we are back online here in 2021. So our first show will be next Tuesday, the 5th of January. Can you believe that, y'all? Where we're going to do Macallan 12 Sherry Oak and Macallan 18. We also, after that, will be doing a little Ardbeg face-off. We're going to do the Ardbeg Black Committee release versus the Ardbeg Limited release. And then we're going to do Ardbeg 10. And then Glenmorangie Taylor Cake and the Malaga Cask. And then we're also going to do Glenmorangie 18. And then to round out January, we got a little, we're going to have a little summer in January show where we're going to check out some rum-aged whiskeys. We got the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve and the Glenfiddich 21. So we got some fun ones coming up.
That's going to be really good. I have a feeling. I can't wait to compare the Glenfiddich 21 that I've been used to with your Glenfiddich, the Caribbean Reserve. I'm sure that's going to be a really nice of rum casks. It's tough to find a good rum cask. One of the very few that comes up in my head is that Balvenie Caribbean 14. Yeah. I mean, it's well done. That's what I measure all the rum casks up against usually.
Right. Yeah, the drum is. I think the drum was the Ardbeg from last year, and that was kind of like,
No, it didn't do it for me either. Which is really sad. I wanted them to be successful with it. I just think that the marriage of the peat and the rum, without like age or something higher ABV or something, it just doesn't. It didn't connect for me as well for some reason.
yeah, I agree. It wasn't interesting. It just really wasn't that interesting.
And
The bummer.
Silverlock was right. Also disappear. The Ojidara's got the Balakin. It's actually Ballachin. If you're trying to
Oh,
look it up, the Balakin is their peated version of Ejodar, and then for Laphroaig is the peated version of Tobermory. So
yeah,
you also get those name variations, like Malt was saying, with some that don't have any peat, some that have a little peat, some have a lot of peat. They all have these different names,
yeah,
and that's why Kilkerran is kind of funny because they have just Kilkerran, the 12, and they have a new 16 that I got to get my hands on. But they have their heavily peated range, but they could have came up with a different name for that if they wanted to.
right. Or like there's like the sherry wood. What was that called? Like, I don't remember. There's something in progress.
Oh, the Works in Progress series.
Yeah, works in progress series. Yeah.
Only our Big Ten is available here, but I saw Laphroaig 18 on the shelves, and it looked really tempting. Well, if you see Laphroaig 18 on the shelf, man, if it's not over, I'm not sure what the conversion to Indian money is. Do they use rupees in India? Do you know?
I think so.
Yeah, if I'm not sure what the rupee. Let me take a quick look just to try to help you out here.
Yeah, if they have Laphroaig 18 on the shelf, it's going to be hard to not buy that. I'll just put it that way. That is a before.
Okay, so $1 is 73 ish Indian rupees. Okay, so let's say I'm thinking, what's the top amount for a Laphroaig 18 in your eyes, American, that you would spend, Eric? And I'll tell them what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably go 200. Like, I think I would get close to 200 for a Laphroaig 18 these Probably not.
I would say 250. So we're going to meet in the middle, and I'll give you 225 for a price.
There you go.
As your top dollar to spend on this. So if you find this I hear, I would look at 16,503 ish. We'll say 500 to be easy. 16,500 rupees should be your top amount that you spend. Now, hopefully, you remember what they were asking for that Laphroaig 18. If was it above or below 16.5 Indian 16,000 500 Indian rupees. I'm just curious to see, because yeah, it's a great pour. You should definitely get it if it's not above that amount. Hopefully he can say,
yeah, definitely.
Between $150 to $200, it's a buy, my friend. It's a buy.
Buy.
You gotta snatch that. You gotta snatch that now.
More, man. So you're getting a whiskey that you really can't find anywhere. So
60% Emerald Jaggery rum.
Oh, Telex, I got to sign off, my friend.
Oh, okay.
But hey, it's been real. We've made it through 2020, bro.
Yeah.
And we're almost approaching. We're only a couple months away from a 1 year mark since we've been doing the show.
Wow.
We started this kind of right when the COVID thing got crazy. And yeah, man, it's been like 9 months. Ridiculous, hey?
It's been going by fast, but I've been enjoying every minute of
Oh,
this.
yeah, definitely.
It's the fastest 2 hours ever.
The fastest 2 hours in whiskey. All right, y'all. Everybody stay safe, be well, man. Thanks again for all the support. Do give this video a thumbs up. If you've yet to, do give Telex a subscription. You can subscribe to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews as well. And everybody have a great New Year. And you as well, Telex, and I'll see y'all on the other side.
All right, man. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
Stay safe, man. Be well.
You too. Well, I'm glad you got to stop by there. I don't want to leave you guys hanging, so let me go back up here and we'll talk a little bit here before we sign off. Emerald Jaggery rum, 8.5 years, 60% curb stomps pretty well at all rum cask scotches. I got to keep that in mind. I have not had that one. Jaggery rum Emerald. I have to remember that. one left to be gladly paid that for another. I'm sure, man. Here's a couple other grain cask scotches. The 15, yes, the 15, I is unreal. I love that cast strength 15. That is awesome. I like that one a lot. I was lucky enough to grab that one myself. Glen Scotia 19, Campbelltown Festival 14 year sounds glorious, and the Kalila 16 year 2020. Yeah, that's one of the fish that I wish that I was able to snag. Yes, the different ranges. Yeah, different peat offerings, different peat levels, like the Hazelburn for no peat, the Springbank for the medium, and the Longrow for the heavily peated. Seems like things like that happen all the time. Balvenie 14, yeah, yeah. I would definitely snag that one, my hair. Definitely not a bad price at all. About 75, yeah, rupees to $1. I would say that's a import duty tax. Yeah, that's true, but hopefully, hopefully it works out pretty good. 14 rum cask. Yeah, the Hazelburn 14 I've heard was pretty good. I'll have to see if I can find that one. Oh wow, he's originally from Delhi. Very cool. Happy New Year to you, Molasses. I really appreciate you coming by for the big show. Very, very fun. And I've seen that Alberta is putting out great amaret single cast this big. Yeah, very, very nice. 2019 in 15 years. Wow. Hmm. That sounds outstanding. That's one that I have not had is the Glen Scotia or the 2020 is a 14-year-old port. Okay. Hmm. Either one sounds glorious. I would love to have a 14-year-old port from Glen Scotia as well. And yes, Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully, you guys have had a decent year. It's been a rough one, I know, for a lot of people, but hopefully you've made the most out of, a bad situation and make it a good one. I try to see the positive in a lot of things. I try to be, proactive, try to be not stationary. I try to keep moving, try to have big goals, try to have new ideas, and that's what it's really all about, I think. Because no matter what age you are, that will always make you feel like you're alive. If you're always trying to better the environment that you're in, and thankfully, I felt like I've actually done that this year. I've been proud of myself to keep going forward. Work has not missed a beat, which is great. I'm lucky, very lucky, to be able to work with technology. So I have been able to work from home with that. But on the other hand, if I had to go somewhere, um, man, it'd be challenging. But you have to just you know keep your head down and move forward. I've been doing a lot of my radio stuff on the side, still getting out to parks and whatnot on the side. So that's been challenging. I mean, you have to be careful. You got to wipe, everything down, gas pumps if you use them and whatnot with wipes and stuff, and stay away from people. But it's not the hardest thing to do. Thankfully, I'm an introvert and by nature, so it's not as hard, I think, for me as for other people. So I do feel for the extroverts out there. I do feel it for you guys that feel the need to be around other people and work as more of a physical team. But hopefully, the introverts have been able to help you guys along the way as much as we can to get you guys to feel more comfortable. I know that's a weird way to go out, but yeah, get out when possible. That's the kick in all this mess, and get some hobbies. Scotch is a great one, and I've been getting into some rock collecting, minerals and stuff, gemstones, things like that on the side. I've been doing my drums. I destroy silence, so been doing that for a while, and still playing my guitars and bass guitar and other things that are unpronounceable in other languages. But Still having as much fun as we can, and I really hope you guys have a great 2021. It can only get better from here, and even if you have to wait forever, which it probably will be, to get this damn vaccine, hopefully, I'm hoping by May, all of us will be, doing a lot better. Have you read The Rip Quiet by Susan Cain? I have not. I'll look that up though on the side and see what I can get out of that. But it sounds like a good title because peace and quiet is tough to come by sometimes. I bought a Oban 14 and a Glenlivet 15 for the holiday this year. It was fun to compare. Yeah, the 14 Oban, that's a very nice floral, but yet still, I think it's slightly peated, if I'm not mistaken, on that one, isn't it? Let me take a quick look on the side. The Oban 14. I don't have it memorized, but I remember the florals being very nice in that bottle. It is an Isla, I know by memory. Let's see here. Oban, let's see. Oban 14. Highlands. It is peated good. Highlands. I thought it was an Isla Scotch. Are they out of their minds? Is that true? I thought Oban was an Isla malt, isn't it? Anyway, excuse me. It is slightly peated. Yeah, the ppm is going to be very low. You're right. It's a mild smoke flavor. It's going to be slightly peated, slightly smoky as well. It's on the sweeter end, a lot of fruit, but Obans across the board are usually more floral forward. That one does have some, but it looks like it's more of a fruity sweet dram with that. It's been a while since I've had it. I need to pick up another bottle, and as well as an older an Oban too would be nice. Oh, it is a Highland Scotch. Okay, for some reason I had Isla on the mind, probably because they're typically known for their uh, their peated offerings, but Western Coast. Okay, I guess this is so close. Maybe that's the reason why it feels like an Isla sort of interesting. The what was the other one you talked about? The Glenlivet 15, the French oak. Yeah, the French oak is probably I prefer that one to the Oban 14 only because of just the overall feel and the taste. The French oak is nice. It's lower ABV though, 40%. I'm not sure if that's always. Sometimes Americans are lucky enough to get a 43%. Are you in America, Disappear? And if so, did you have the 40% or was it 43? Or do you remember which version? If it was 43, you would definitely enjoy it probably a little more. It definitely pops a little better typically than the lower ABVs, but a little more flavor, that type of thing. The 14 from the Oban was a 43% across the board, I think. Yeah. But I still think that the Glenlivet 15 was my favorite between the two, but that's just a personal thing. The 18 is a really nice pour as well. They have a 21, but man, is it expensive. It is crazy. Oh, sorry. There we go. I'm not familiar with any peated offerings from Oban, but yeah, the 14, the Little Bay, the 18, they're all peated. Those are all peated offerings. I just double checked. Even the Distiller's Edition is peated. It's not heavily peated by any means, but they are peated. Canada, okay, 40%. Yeah, yeah. Even though the Oban's slightly higher, I just preferred the Glenlivet 15 to that one because of the overall just profile, the fruit and the it just felt like a little bit better of a whiskey to me for some reason. The Glenfiddich 14 Virgin American Oak finish is very good. It sounds good. 43 is kind of, but yeah, that's okay though, because sometimes you can get And that's the funny thing, the Glenlivet 18, the old one, hopefully you had the old one, because that one was at 43. They lowered the new one to 40, and I was not as big of a fan. I gave the new one 3.75 out of 5, and then the old one, which I think is the one you're talking about, a 4 out of 5. So there you go on that. But yeah, the sometimes the ABVs, man, they really hurt you when it comes to when they lower them. If they're not at least 46 for me, I'm kind of like, but you can't have 46 or 48 or 60 all the time, unfortunately. I wish you could. It'd be nice. Well, thanks so much, guys, for stopping by. I do have to wrap it up, but yeah, the 43. You're lucky. Yeah, you had the good one. They have a newer one that they just released, Disappear. That's 40%. It's a new version of the 18-year-old. Not as good, sadly, as the 43%, in my opinion. But sometimes it differs. Sometimes, even though you go lower ABV, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean it's always worse. But why lower it unless you have to? Is my thing. Cheers to you too, Steven. I appreciate it. And looking at some fun stuff coming by. We'll be doing, like you said, some Macallan, some Ardbeg, some Glenmorangie, some Glenfiddich, some Glendronach, some Glencadam, some Glengoyne, some Balvenie, some Lagavulin. We'll be doing some Longrow. We'll be doing some Auchentoshan, some Loch Lomond, some Ballblair, some Kilhoman. So we're definitely going to be all over the place. And hope you guys have a happy, happy, happy New Year. It can't get any worse. Just always remember that no matter how bad it gets, it can't get really much worse than it has been. So only good things from here. And this is the motto of the story right here. And hopefully, guys that are looking for vaccines can get them. I unfortunately take medication where I got to be a little careful. So I might not be able to get on the front of the list, but that's okay. First responders and police officers and people that have to be in bartenders and waitresses and servers and all that, hostesses, they have to be more in working with the public. Those are the people that should get it first anyway. So hopefully we can get those guys vaccinated like tomorrow. That would be my wish. And aloha to everybody. Oh man, the wife has already gotten it. That sucks. Well, I'm glad she's okay though, Stephen. That's the most important thing, man. Because that in itself is luck. Because a lot of people, sadly, have not been as lucky as that. So I'm really glad that she came okay. Hopefully, she doesn't have a lot of residual stuff that's keeps going on. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking for some new good juice very, very soon. I'm trying to find a Ben Nevis. I might have to get with Steven on the side. Um, I want to get a nice Ben Nevis official bottling if possible. That's at least 21-ish if I can get it affordable. That would be awesome. And I've got my eyes on some other ones that are around 21 to 30 years of age. So it'll be fun. Oh, you gotten the vaccine. Very, very good. Or she has, one of the two. She might even work in that field. So either way, I'm glad she's already gotten it and into the system, and hopefully doesn't have to worry as much. Hopefully this stuff lasts. The vaccine hopefully lasts for at least a year. If we're not, I've heard good things that it could last for a lot longer because of the way that it actually works with the protein. And I won't get into the whole spike protein prevention and all that. But if you're interested, definitely look online and you can find medical information on how some of these vaccines work, and they're all different. The Moderna is different from the Pfizer, from the Oxford one, the Exeter, the UK one. There's one even in Maryland that we're working on that we're about to release. It's on third step trials, and I've heard that's going to be. I think it's Novalex. I can't remember the company name. It starts with an N, I think, but they're going to ready to release one that's completely different than all the other ones too. So take that into account when you're vaccine shopping, I guess, if you do have a choice. I'm surprised that there's this many available, but I'm very happy and feel blessed. So I appreciate you, everybody, and hope to see you soon. Next Tuesday, we're definitely going to be on with some Macallan. I know they're not the most loved across the board as far as everybody, but they're well known, and we're going to take a look, and we're going to, give it the real deal, and no holds barred, no holding back. Sláinte for now, guys, and I hope to see you soon.